I'll tell you this.
Those people.
I went to a black dominant high school, and I used to sneak them in there into the lunchroom, right? And I used to be like, they should be like, we want to battle you. I used to be like, nah, can't battle me. Why don't you battle the white boy over there first?
Proof was the glue that binded us all together, right? He did so much shit behind the scenes that I didn't even realize.
So apparently, a call between Proof and Eminem just leaked, and what's in it has people talking because it sounds like Proof was trying to warn M about something serious. Now, if you're following this story at all, you already know how deep it goes. Proof wasn't just some rapper from Detroit. He was M's day one, his closest friend, the backbone of D12, and a legend in the city in his own right. And when he was killed back in 2006, it hit the whole scene hard. But for Eminem, it completely changed his life.
Through a really rough time with that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it hit us all, you know, everyone in the group. I mean, there was so many people that loved Proof, you know what I mean? Just me particularly took it was rough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was, especially the first year, it was bad, you know?
But what most people don't know, though, is that there were signs that before Proof was shot, he was acting different. And according to a few people who were around at the time, he had a conversation with M shortly before everything went down. And now details from that conversation have started leaking. And if they're real, it sounds like Proof was worried for M. And whatever he told him, it might explain why M started distancing himself from Detroit. So what did Proof say in that call? And how much did M know before that night happened? Let's break down what we know so far.
That's the only way to obtain greatness, man, is to find ways to motivate yourself. I mean,
Before we even get into the leaked call, you have to understand what was going on in Proof's life at that point, because this wasn't just some random night going wrong. There were signs that things around him were getting messy fast. By 2006, Proof wasn't just Eminem's hype man anymore. He was doing his own thing, solo music, local shows, and still repping Detroit heavy. But the energy around him had changed. People close to him said he was stressed, tired, and low-key paranoid. Not like running from the cops paranoid, more like he knew something was coming but couldn't put his finger on it.
You're not backing out of a battle, are you?
dexterity. I don't back out of battles, but I don't do no audio ass, staged ass. What the fuck is that?
Hey, stage. I already got y'all, so we on that stage.
Put condoms on it. Beat bitches pussy.
Proof had been dealing with street politics, pressure from different sides, and just general tension from being someone in the middle of a lot of circles: music, hood, industry, and personal. And y'all know Detroit at the time wasn't exactly safe for anyone moving around with fame and money, especially someone who kept it as real as Proof did.
People from Detroit different than people from other cities, would you say? Is there a certain kind of person that lives in Detroit?
What makes people from Detroit different?
Yeah.
Just because, like, in our city, there's not a whole lot to do. So people are like, there's not a lot here, you know? We're just starting to get things here, so it's like, you know, there's a lot of tension in the city.
And then there were rumors about beef between certain members of D12, but not just with other artists, but with people around the scene. Jealousy, drama, bad energy, the usual stuff that turns deadly in cities where rap and the streets still overlap heavy. And Proof wasn't dumb. He grew up in that environment. He knew how fast things could go left. That's why it hits different when people say he was calling up people in his circle, checking on folks, having quiet conversations that felt a little too serious. And one of those calls, the one to Eminem, is what's now resurfacing. Now, that call didn't happen in a vacuum. Proof had been acting different for a few weeks. Some say he wasn't sleeping much. Others say he was drinking heavier than usual. He even reportedly told someone close that he felt like something bad was going to happen soon. So when we hear there was a final phone call to Eminem where he sounded off, like he was trying to say something without fully saying it, it fits the timeline. And that brings us to the night everything changed. It went down in the early hours of April 11, 2006 at a club called CCC, a small after-hours hour spot on Detroit's 8 Mile Road. Proof had been out drinking that night. There were reports he hit up another venue earlier, then pulled up to CCC sometime after 3 a.m. That place wasn't a big flashy club, more like a local dive. Pool tables, regulars, open late, the kind of spot you hit up when everything is closed. So around 4 a.m., an argument broke out during a game of pool between Proof and another man named Keith Bender Jr., a 35-year-old U.S. Army veteran. Witnesses said that things got heated fast, and at some point, Proof allegedly punched Bender, then pulled a pistol whipped him. That's when Bender's cousin, Mario Etheridge, who worked security at the club, stepped in. According to multiple witness statements and police reports, Etheridge first fired a warning shot into the air. Then when Proof allegedly turned the toward him, Etheridge shot him multiple times. Proof was hit in the chest and head. He died at the scene. Bender was also shot during the chaos and died a week later from his injuries. What's crazy is that the entire thing lasted maybe a couple of minutes. Police confirmed that Proof was carrying an unlicensed firearm and that he fired at least one shot, but no charges were filed for murder. Etheridge ended up getting probation and a $2,000 fine for discharging a weapon in a building and carrying a concealed weapon without a permit. In other words, the courts saw it as self-defense. But here's the thing, even though the case was technically closed, there were still questions. People wondered why Proof, who was known for keeping a level head in public, lost it like that. What triggered him that night? Was it just alcohol, bad blood with someone in the club, or was he already on edge from something else going on behind the scenes? The toxicology report later confirmed Proof had high levels of blood alcohol and traces of other substances in his system. But that still doesn't explain why things escalated the way they did, or why just days before, people say he was making strange calls and acting like something was about to go down. And if that's true, if he really did reach out to Eminem during that time, the next question is obvious. What was said on that call? So here's what we actually know about the call. There's no full recording and nothing officially released, but multiple people over the years have hinted at it in ways that point to something real happening behind the scenes. A few days before he was killed, Proof was reportedly on the phone with a handful of people. According to sources close to him, including D12 affiliates and local Detroit artists, one of those calls was to Eminem. And the way they describe it, it wasn't just some regular check-in. One person said Proof had been calling people late at night, kind of emotional, and trying to clear the air on stuff. Another said he sounded like he was trying to tie up loose ends, like he knew something was coming but didn't say it outright. Now here's where it gets interesting. In later interviews, Eminem talked about how he blamed himself for what happened to Proof. Not directly, but emotionally. He said that he should have been there, that he felt like he lost a piece of himself that night.
Like the way that I've been able to kind of deal with it, and like I guess the healing process for me is that I guess to kind of stop beating myself up over the fact of, you know, thinking like if I would have talked to him maybe that day, he wouldn't have went to that club. If I would have, you know, if I just would have, maybe if I would have been with him. You know what I mean? Those were kind of the thoughts that were going through my head.
M has also said in interviews that Proof would always keep it real with him. That even when M was slipping into addiction, Proof was one of the only ones who told him straight up to get his life together. So if anyone was going to tell M it's time to move different, it would have been Proof.
Proof. That's how Proof was to me. Yeah, man, he was a godsend to me because I know that I would not have made it without knowing him. Realized, not only that, the fact that Proof used to beat my ass all the time in the backyard boxing, and one time he beat me like literally to the fucking ground, and he was just like, just stop, because I kept getting up, coming at him, but I'm like, I just kept getting beat up. He was fast, man. He was very quick. Proof was the glue that binded us all together, right? He did so much shit behind the scenes that I didn't even realize, and did things to keep us a group and to motivate us. It's crazy because that's the one thing you needed. That's the one thing you needed in your life to feel like you was special. That's how Proof made me feel. It was like...
Now, whether the full content of that call ever comes out is another story. But based on the people who were around at the time and M's own words years later, it definitely sounds like that last call happened. And that Proof wasn't just talking about himself. He might have been trying to protect M too. And after Proof died, Eminem started moving differently. Not right away. He was at the funeral, gave a speech, and looked completely broken. But after that, he went completely off the grid. At the time, people thought he was just grieving, and that was definitely a part of it. He said in multiple interviews that losing Proof hit him harder than anything else in his life, and he ended up spiraling into one of the darkest periods of his life. His addiction got worse, and he almost died from an OD in 2007.
It took a long time for my brain to start working again.
Yeah, I mean, you literally were coming off of, an overdose, and, they had to sort of stabilize you with a few medications, and some of them took you a minute to adjust to. Let's just leave it at that, right? So you're learning how to rap again, almost literally, right? Because it's the first time probably you were creating without having substances in your body in however many years, right?
Yeah. Didn't you ask the doctors when I first started rapping again and sent it to you? Didn't you say, like, I just want to make sure he doesn't have brain damage?
Yeah. I thought you might have some permanent problems. Yeah. I was concerned for sure.
But it wasn't just emotional. M was also distancing himself from Detroit, at least from the scene. He wasn't seen out and about like before. And that mattered because for someone like M, who built his whole identity on being from the D, that change stood out. He became more private, more protective, more security, less contact. Some say he even stopped hanging around certain people who used to be in the mix. It was like he shut the door on a whole part of his old life. So if Proof did tell M to leave Detroit, or at least watch his back, it looks like M listened. And then there's also the music. When Eminem finally came back with Relapse in 2009, Proof's presence was all over it, not just in dedications, but in tone. It was darker, more paranoid, more personal than anything he'd done before. Then on Recovery, you had songs like You're Never Over, where he breaks down crying on the track while talking about Proof. And again, more references to warnings and Proof saving M's life. M even raps about how it was Proof who came to him when he OD'd and told him to fight back. You gave me a reason to fight. I was on my way to see you. You told me, "Nah, duty, you're not." Laying on that table. I knew I was gonna make it. Soon as you said, "Think of Haley," I knew there wasn't no way that I was ever gonna leave them babies. So when you line it all up, it does look like something clicked. Like something shook M enough to say, I can't live like that anymore. And maybe it all started with that last message from Proof. Proof's death didn't just end a life, it changed the entire direction of Eminem's. And whether or not we ever hear the full version of that last call, it's clear something was said. Now, some people look at this story and see just a tragedy, but others see a warning that was passed between two friends, one that might have saved Eminem's life even if it came too late for Proof. And that's the part that hits hardest, because the truth is, Proof knew Detroit. He knew the energy was shifting, he knew the streets weren't the same anymore, and if he really did tell M to move different, maybe he was trying to make sure at least one of them made it out. But let me know what you think about all this. Did Proof see it coming? Was Eminem already planning to leave that life behind? Or did Proof's warning make him really finally do it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you were around the Detroit scene during that time, or if you've heard something I missed, I want to hear from you too. Rest in peace, Proof.
My name is Shady. His name is Proof. Yo, we used to have a roof up on my house, and now we had a mouse that ate the cheese out of the fridge. Didn't want to admit that I was on welfare when I was 3. Plus when I was 4, my mother used to leave. She used to always slam the door at him. Yo, so I said, Proof, won't you come in?
Yeah. Come in, one time for that. Tango and Cash, Kane and Mango and Blast. Together, tougher than Alcatraz, prison bars. Driving foreign cars, yes it's me. Then my man Compadre, black and white, white and ivory and black ebony. They can't step to me.